Don Jr. is on Newsmax, and look at this. Look at this stuff. By the way, if you'll recall, in the Obama administration, they came in on the worst economic disaster since the Great Depression. He's going to need a lot. You're right, Diamander. He's going to need a lot of Viagra for that room. And they're going to need female Viagra. I just can't understand why they would do it for him. Like, he's going to whisper in my ear in the middle of it that Trump's going to be president by July 4th, and he's going to fly out of George Washington's nostril at Mount Rushmore. It's going to be so good. If you'll recall, during the Obama-Biden administration, in the beginning, there was an economic collapse, and they spent their entire presidency building us back from that and doing it very well. But this is just going to act like this was because of economic policies they put forward. If they hadn't done this, if they hadn't done the job they've done, no one would have ever recovered, for the record. But, anyway. 2008, race relations good, 66. 2016, bad, 69%. You do know who was running for president and who was talking all the time and who was ginning up his own support all during 2016. And by the way, I understand why you wouldn't want to write race relations twice. It'd be exhausting. And like Biden and race, because at the end of from 2008 to 2016, it just got worse and worse and worse. It wasn't that in 2016 people were like, the Trump fans were coming out of the woodwork and the white supremacists had a renewed hero. A clutch of Karens, because they clutch their purse when anybody of color walks by. Is that what we're doing? Okay, so here's Don Jr. on Newsmax.
And frankly hope that a lot of Biden voters are getting buyer's remorse.
No, actually, his approval rating is now 63%. It's gone up. Buyer's remorse?
Donald Trump Jr., Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization. Don,
with the same pile of shit. Is that pile just getting... It's the same stuff. That's the same letter we looked at in his video that he made. He's Executive Vice President of making TikToks for the Trump Organization.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, and thanks for turning on your circle light. Thanks for setting it up so that... Yeah, thanks for lowering the shade halfway and being kind of in darkness. Millionaire. Again, folks, thank you for the super chats and support. Thank you, Motang. Thanks for buying a t-shirt. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Diamander. Thank you, Benny Loco. Thank you, Raphael. Thank you, Jay. I, if you'll notice, am not using this microphone today, which you can see over here. See this guy? I'm not using that right now. I'm not. Because, thanks to you guys, I was able to replace the Pico stream that we used to use all the time for the stream that got destroyed because the original versions of these, the little clip that went on was very delicate. The first gen of these things broke apart and it was very sad. So I was able to buy a new replacement thanks to you guys. So that's why the audio is awesome and I can now get up. And when I walk away from the microphone and go into the other room and do something to tell you something, it doesn't sound like I've left the room because I'm still mic'd up. Because I care about the show, okay? This is not difficult. It's not even all that expensive. It's about $300. And yes, that's a big deal, but when you're doing this all the time, it's something, it's worthwhile. And these things are amazing. I have a ring light. I'm using, the camera I'm using is one of these guys. It's a used Sony A5100 I got off eBay, sitting through a ring light. I've got two Elgato lights on either side. They're about $150 a piece. And the show looks great. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to our patrons. Thanks to the super chats. Thanks to all that put in. Meanwhile, this asshole is appearing on a network, relatively small, but a network news organization, someone who was recently eating Fox's lunch, so they've definitely got technology. He's allegedly a millionaire, right? And this is the shot we get. This is it. Look at that. What is this? What is this bullshit? Thank you, Raphael. And in honor of Rob Glenn, I wanted to talk tech because it's some help he gave us last year that actually kept the show on the air. But this, see what I mean? Like, this is just annoying. And yeah, maybe he's lighting like this because his eyes are so friggin' bloodshot. You can't put... I don't get it. There's no excuse. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you for the stars. Thank you, everybody on Facebook, for the stars as well. That really helps. It really, really does. Memberships everywhere, all that stuff. All of it helps. And I'm just trying to grow this piece by piece. We try to make this better and make it, so that I can expand the show and have it be of quality and reliable for me and for you guys. And then the next step is I'm going to save up and buy 2 more of these things and have a 3-camera shoot at all my stand-up shows. And I'm going to do what I call Sunday stand-up, where I live stream the Sunday show when I'm on tour, when I'm doing a weekend of stand-up. The Sunday show will be live streamed and everybody can watch it thanks to you guys and that stuff with a live switched full-on thing. And I'm like, if I can do that on the shoestring I'm operating on, this prick can't. He does nothing in that office. He's not doing any fucking work. That pile hasn't changed in weeks. He only uses his office for his little promo videos that he puts on Rumble. Yes, I did, Amy. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Technology rant over. God damn, it's annoying.
It's my pleasure, guys. Good to be with you.
Oh, and he's on phone audio. He's using his his AirPod audio. There's not even a mic there. And again, like, I should probably move this down. There you go. You hear it move? So that my hair doesn't ruffle on it. When you come to sort my studio out, I'll gladly do it, Benny Loco. I swear to God, I'm gonna start after after the current unpleasantness is over. One of the things I'm gonna do is continue to outfit people's studios just as community service.
Well, first thing I have to ask, we've got a few Trump family members that could be.
I got a couple of. My first question is, why are you backlit like an asshole when you know you're going to be on our show?
Making runs as we look towards 2022, 2024, including possibly your father. He's indicated that
not happening.
That is
Thank you.
A possibility.
Level 2 hype train.
Now, curious, what would be the Trump America First solution to this situation that we're in?
Yeah, tell us what you would do? What would be well, guys?
I think you go back to the policies that were working, right? You had 4 Middle East peace deals, and look at what's going on in Israel right now.
I'm sorry. Did he have a peace deal with Hamas? He gave $50 billion worth of military equipment to 3 different countries. There was never any Palestinian deal. There was never even an approach to do it. What policy would have worked in terms of Israel and Palestine?
You had American energy independence, and now we have gas lines and gas shortages all over the country.
We don't have gas shortages. The pipeline was shut down because it was hacked. Because during the time Trump was during Trump's presidency, he was undermining our cybersecurity at every turn.
You have the Russians hacking pipelines, supposedly. You have a crisis.
Yeah, nice of you to throw on supposedly. So I guess that Trump Tower Moscow deal is back on.
At the border that wasn't a crisis.
You mean because COVID?
It's pretty laughable. I mean, Joe Biden, they're giving him all this credit because he inherited Trump's vaccine and Trump's vaccine plan.
Well, I'm sorry. Trump's vaccine plan was army trucks in Walmart parking lots, if you'll recall.
The reality is he hasn't done anything. So I'd go to those policies. He's created a disaster, frankly. And, the media.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's beard's a disaster. That guy was clean shaven when Trump left office, and now he's wearing Trump's hair on his chin. That's actually Trump's actual hair. It's been roaming the across. Hold on. Now I've painted myself into a corner. And I can't not do it. Seriously, how is that not Trump's? All right, so
the media is happy to turn a blind eye to what's actually going on. Remember what happened when Donald Trump said, we're going to move the embassy to its rightful place in Jerusalem. People went crazy. It was going to be the start of World War III. Billions of people were going to die. Shockingly, nothing happened.
No, it just gave Israel the fortitude to start moving settlements into places, which made this progressively worse and led to this circumstance.
Now there's violence in the Middle East all over the place, and
yeah, that's never happened before.
Nothing to see here, folks. We're totally oblivious to what's going on. It's pretty pathetic.
The U.S. and the UN met about this. The U.S. is actually working both overtly and covertly behind the scenes to put a stop to this as best we can. Again, it's not our country, so what little leverage we do have in those circumstances.
You know, Don, let me ask you, nobody would love for America to retreat back to the 1970s, which we've been talking about is unfortunately happening. Nobody would love that more than China, than the regime in Beijing, particularly economically so. And it's impossible for us, though, to get our
retreat to the 70s. Is this a Carter reference? Or it's certainly not a Nixon reference because, well,
our full economic vitality back, the kind we had before the CCP virus, unless the blue states and blue cities end these draconian lockdown restrictions that are very much at the impetus.
Why? Why would it matter if the blue cities and the blue states end their lockdowns? I mean, they're not. What value would that add? Oh, I see. It's because the blue states and the blue cities are the ones that bring in all the economic power of the United States. And the red states are a fucking drag. It's nice to see you guys admitting that finally.
Of Dr. Fauci. Now, I want to ask you specifically about a tweet you put out about Dr. Fauci. You said China could not have picked a better person to advise us. What did you mean by that, Don?
Well, obviously.
Well, 100%. I mean, I think if you look at the facts, if you look at the things that he called, if you look at the models that he made, I don't believe any of them are actually ever turned out to be correct. We seem to be.
Yeah, they did. And literally, the warnings that he was giving and the things that we needed to act on, your dad said, I heard him, but I didn't act on any of them. I didn't do the stuff that he said to do. So claiming that that stuff doesn't work when your dad actively was against it.
To be basing decisions on, his pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience.
And China's thrill.
Not hard science like hydroxychloroquine and shoving a light bulb up your ass and drinking bleach.
I put out another tweet the other day, which was,
oh my God, another tweet.
Joe Biden is essentially Jimmy Carter 2.0.
And I handed you your ass, and apparently you're still smarting over it. I know for a fact my tweet got to him.
And people were like, oh my God, they lost their minds. Jimmy Carter was a nice humanitarian guy. I go, that may be great, but like the presidency was a disaster. Whether it be, again,
No, it wasn't. As a matter of fact, the violent crime went down in the 90s largely because of Carter's move to remove leaded gas from the country once and for all, to put us on a path to get rid of it. And 20 years, nearly to the day of peak lead gas in our atmosphere, crime went down like that. It just started to drift down. Carter saved a shit ton of lives.
Everything, right? We're seeing the gas prices. We're seeing the Israel going on. You had an equivalent crisis then. Our enemies are laughing at us because, our FBI, our CIA, our president, they're more concerned about checking off a bunch of woke talking points than they.
That we dealt with this. That's the video they're still hooked on. I mean, he's got his four like post-it notes on the top of his screen of the things he has to hit.
They are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing for the American people. You saw.
They are. They are waking up every day trying to make sure the country doesn't get attacked. They're giving their lives, many people in the CIA giving their lives in secret to protect the country and people they don't know or never will know. Same thing with the FBI. I mean, two of them literally were murdered trying to stop a child pornographer in January. They were first through the door, man and woman, left behind 3 kids. Fuck you.
You saw those recruitment videos from the CIA. It's like, guess what, guys? I don't want my CIA agents and my workers there to have anxiety disorders, okay? I don't know. I don't have a problem with people that have anxiety disorders. It's a terrible
Yes, you do.
thing. I'm not sure I want those people on the front line of defense against
They're not on the front line of defense.
China, against Russia. Probably doesn't end well. Now, I know you're not allowed to say that in 2021, but I've sort of made a brand about not caring.
Yes, yes. If Don Jr. has a brand, it's not caring.
Speaking of that, Don, you make a great point. You know, you're very active out there on Twitter. You're posting videos to Rumble on a regular basis. Really?
Yeah, that's what he's there to promote, by the way. That understand that when you agree to do a segment on a news show, they either offer to, pop your book at the end. But if it's a celebrity or somebody where you've got multiple offers in certain situations, they'll always kind of sweeten you coming on with, we'll promote your thing you're currently doing now. Like, I'm not, more than likely, my PR person, where I'd have one currently, which I don't because of COVID, were I to talk them into, if they asked me to do an event or something like that, promoting this stream would be part of that. It would be the thing that they would sweeten the deal on. Oh, thanks, Cassie.
Really reacting to what's happening in the first 100+ days of this administration. Your thoughts on big tech bias and what that means, not only as we look towards our upcoming elections, but also for our viewers out there.
Yeah. You're on little tech a lot, like Rumble. So what's it like to be on like a pathetically small outlet when you can't be on the big guys? You know what I mean? When you want to say all the stuff you have to say, and there's tons of people saying the exact same thing you are. They just say it more artfully or have a better vocabulary so they can get away with it. And here you are getting kicked off all these things because you dumb, son. What's that like?
Well, it's rampant, and that's why I'm trying to get on other platforms and spending a
and this is for Susan. Trump is not the president. He will never be president again. He doesn't want to be president, and he wouldn't pee on your gums if your teeth were on fire.
A lot of time on platforms like Rumble, where they're at least sort of free speech. They're not.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, I have a piece from Rumble. Oh, we'll get to that in a moment.
I see what happens to my analytics and some of the other things. One platform I had last month. I had 20. It was close to 28 million, or maybe 28.4 million impressions.
And then impressions. In
a week, in a 1 week period, and I got 304 new followers. I had an average post count that had an average like of about 250,000 likes.
Yeah, your impressions aren't the followers, and people are watching you for news purposes.
Per post, and I only got 304 new followers. I mean, I have a feeling something's off.
Yeah, people check you out and go, oh, same old bullshit. Never mind.
Pretty good at statistics over at Wharton. This was sort of that's what we call a statistical anomaly. But when it's an anomaly.
No, it isn't. It's a sociological effect of you being boring as fuck.
Every week, and it seems to only affect certain people, those who are loud and conservative.
Bullshit. There are plenty of loud conservatives that have channels on YouTube that are growing like wildfire still. The Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro grew so fast, they had to start their own company because they had such a big audience.
You got to wonder. And so.
Yeah, you got to wonder why people look at your shit and goes, I could just go watch Crowder say this. At least he makes me laugh. It's the same shit. Why would I listen to this dude babble while looking at Post-it notes attached to the top of his phone to try and remember his talking points on a 5-minute video, fuck up twice, and not bother to edit or put them or go back and do it again.
So, platforms like Rumble, don't seem to have that bias. Again,
they also don't have that audience. Let's see. I think I have. Yeah, here you go. This is a Rumble one. This is the Eric Metaxas show on here. It's Eric and Mike. It's obviously just today. It's got 1,900 views. So what if Michael Lindell is paying millions of dollars and financing this dude's show entirely for this episode? So what if my live stream is kicking this live stream's ass? I mean, 79 rumbles. I think we can get more super chats this episode than that. I'm pretty sure, right? This is, good Lord.
They're more than happy to host people with alternate views of mine.
Trump is not your president. You can feel like he was your president because he was yours, and a lot of people I was a Truman man, and that's fine. You're allowed to believe that. Trump is not the president. He's not the president. He's never going to be the president again. But thank you for adding to our viewer points.
But I don't see sort of an impediment being a conservative to get on that platform. So I encourage people to check it out. Check out my videos there.
Okay, they're talking. Then Rumble might be one of the ones they're talking about buying. They're trying to drive the audience up, and if they're, and more than likely, so there's always been this talk about Trump buying a social media network or starting his own, but we all know that Trump doesn't have any money, and largely is a branding exercise, right? That's an ongoing thing with him. So what they do is they go in and go, hey, we've got a big name, and therefore give us a licensing deal, and we'll call Rumble, Trumpistan or Trumble right now, and that'll be the site, and everybody will come because they love us. But his Rumble account isn't doing better than Dan Bongino, or anybody else who's doing well on there. It's kind of flatlining. So it's hard to make that branding thing where you deserve more than 4% of revenue if you're not bringing anything to it. So now he's on Newsmax trying to pump up his channel so that they can make this. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. They're either because they don't want to buy YouTube. It looks like shit.
Sort of put up the content that I know will be fact-checked elsewhere, on that platform. Not that it's fact-checked because there's actually anything wrong factually, but because...
Well, that's why you're on Rumble, because you don't want to be. Because nobody cares to. Like, no one's fact-checking his videos because no one gives a shit about his videos. I'm like one of the only places that plays his bullshit.
If you look at something, they can say, well, that's opinion, therefore we can say we disagree. They literally have fact-checked me saying, this is my opinion. They're saying, no, that's incorrect. I was like, you're telling me...
No. His opinion is one thing, but then he'll add another fact that he bases his opinion on, and that's what gets fact-checked. It's a dumb argument.
My opinion is not my opinion? I don't understand.
That's not their fault. You're dumb. That's what happens to dumb people. They often encounter moments where things are going on around them, and they are completely baffled by the fact that their idiocy has confronted reality. That's...
But you see that bias, and again, it only goes one way.
Right, Don, to that point, and you're right, when the anomaly...
No, it doesn't. It's just that the egregious lies are apparently one direction most of the time.
All line up in one direction. They're no longer coincidence. There's something going on there. But I want to...
Yes. You are all collectively lying about the same thing. How come they don't fact check the pro-vaxxers?
Ask you about that regarding social media and tech tyranny. Two-part question, really. Was it a mistake when the Republicans had full control of the Congress and the White House?
To fuck up so badly?
So that they were not more aggressive in taking on big tech? And is that an important platform?
Why would they, when they had control of everything, it was because of big tech. Facebook took rubles to pay for campaign ads for Donald Trump. If it wasn't for his Twitter following, he wouldn't, and his ability to just tweet out bullshit nonstop, he wouldn't have gotten the PR bump that he got during the beginning of the primaries. That was the primary reason why, during the primaries, he was pushed into the lead, was because he was on Twitter, and his following on there was taken as real, for one, which it wasn't. A half of it's bots. That's why he was like, half my people left, or whatever. That every time they broom bots, they did a big brooming of bots on Twitter, he would lose a shit ton of followers, and then they'd have to go buy some more from India to pad the numbers again.
For retaking the House and Senate in 2022.
I think without question. I mean, I've been screaming this stuff for 5-6 years. I mean, I think what I've been very vocal about is that the average.
You've been screaming what for 5 to 6 years? That we need to stop big tech?
Republican doesn't even realize that this is a major issue with their base. They may be coming to realize it now, but 4 years ago.
Thank you, Deborah.
I was like, hey guys, like, guess what? Like, this is a top 2 or 3 issue with
2 or 3 or 5 or 358, 59, whatever.
Like conservative voters, because they see it. If you're a religious person, if you're pro-life,
which he is not.
If you're
which he is not.
Pro-Second Amendment, God help you, right? It's over.
Dude could only shoot a stake down animal that's at a safe distance.
You just get crushed. You can just watch your analytics go down the.
Bullshit. There are tons of pro-life people who believe that life begins at conception, who have maintained their accounts on Twitter and other places because they never ratchet up to the tiller, the baby killer nonsense. There are plenty of people who are conservative Republicans who have accounts on all of these. They just don't call for a violent insurrection.
On the toilet in about 2 minutes. So the conservative base.
Thanks, Joseph.
This is a major issue with it.
I wish we had more time, but unfortunately we have to.
Sorry, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you're fucking boring us all. I understand now why your rumbles don't do any business. This really explains a lot.
So we appreciate you being with us tonight.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Glad to. That was exhausting. I need another line.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, no, Rob, nobody's watching that shit except me.